Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, I'm tipsy. This expression means that someone has had a little bit of alcohol to drink and they're feeling the effects, but they're not completely drunk. When you're tipsy, you might feel a bit dizzy, more relaxed, or maybe you're laughing more than usual. It's like being somewhere between sober and drunk. This word comes from the idea of being unsteady on your feet, like you might tip over slightly. You know how, when you drink a little alcohol, you might feel a bit wobbly. That's where this word comes from. It's a very casual way to describe this feeling, and it's not offensive at all. Actually, many people use it in a lighthearted way. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. Last weekend, we went to a wine tasting event. After trying 3 different wines, Sarah started giggling at everything and said, "I think I'm getting a little tipsy." She wasn't drunk or out of control. She was just feeling happy and relaxed from the wine. For example, if you're at a party and someone offers you another drink, you might say, "No thanks, I'm already tipsy." You might hear something like, "After 2 glasses of wine, I'm feeling tipsy." Here's another one. "I got a little tipsy at dinner, so I took a taxi home instead of driving." Have you ever used this expression before? It's a really natural way to talk about having had a little alcohol. Let me know in the comments if you've heard people say this. Number 2, what's your poison? This phrase might sound scary, but don't worry, it has nothing to do with actual poison. When someone asks, "What's your poison?" they're asking what you want to drink. It's a fun, casual way that bartenders, waiters, or even friends might ask about your drink preference. It's like saying, "What would you like to drink?" This expression comes from the old idea that alcohol was sometimes called poison in a joking way, since it can make you feel different if you drink too much. But people use it for any kind of drink now, not just alcohol. You might hear this at a bar, at a party, or even at a coffee shop. I remember when I first moved to a new city, I went to a local coffee shop. The barista was really friendly, and when I walked up to the counter, he smiled and said, "Good morning. What's your poison today?" At first, I was confused because I didn't know this expression yet. But then I realized he was just asking what I wanted to drink in a fun way. I ordered a latte and we had a nice chat. For example, when you're at a restaurant, your server might ask, "What's your poison tonight?" You might hear something like, "I'm making cocktails for everyone." What's your poison? Let's take this one. At the coffee meeting, my boss asked, "What's your poison?" And I ordered an espresso. This expression is pretty common in casual settings. Do you think you'd feel comfortable using this with friends? Which drinks would be your poison? Number 3, How was your day? This sentence is probably one of the most common questions you'll hear in English. People ask this when they want to know about someone's day, how they're feeling, or what happened to them. It's a way to show you care about the person and want to hear about their experiences. This question is used everywhere: at home with family, with friends, with coworkers, or even with people you don't know very well. It's a polite way to start a conversation or show interest in someone's life. You'll hear this question almost every single day if you live in an English-speaking country. Every evening when my husband comes home from work, I ask him, "How was your day?" And he asks me the same thing. It's become like a little ritual for us. We sit down, maybe have some tea, and talk about what happened during the day. Sometimes the answer is just, "It was good." But other times we have long conversations about interesting things that happened. For example, when you see your friend after work, you might say, "Hey, how was your day?" You might hear something like, "How was your day at the new job?" Here's another one. My mom always calls me in the evening and asks, "How was your day, sweetie?" This is such a useful question because it works in so many situations. Have you ever been asked this question? What do you usually say when someone asks you? Let me know in the comments. Number 4, you can never have enough. This expression means that something is so good, useful, or important that you always want more of it. It's impossible to have too much of it. People often say this about money, friends, books, coffee, or anything they really love and value. This phrase shows that some things in life are so valuable that no matter how much you have, you could always use more. It's a way to express that something is really, really good or important to you. Americans use this expression all the time to talk about things they're passionate about. My grandmother always said this about books. She had thousands of books in her house, stacked everywhere. On shelves, on tables, even in the bathroom. When people told her she had too many books, she would laugh and say, "You can never have enough books. Each one teaches you something new." Even when she was 90 years old, she was still buying new books and reading every day. For example, when someone gives you another cup of coffee, you might say, "Thanks. You can never have enough coffee." People often say, "When it comes to good friends, you can never have enough." Imagine this. My dad collects old guitars and he always says, "You can never have enough music in your life." What's something in your life that you feel you can never have enough of? Is it chocolate, sleep, or maybe time with family? This expression works for so many different things. Number 5, you put me on the spot. This expression means that someone asked you a question or wanted you to do something when you weren't prepared for it. It made you feel uncomfortable or nervous because you had to answer or react immediately, without time to think. It's like being pushed into a situation where everyone is looking at you and waiting for your response. The phrase comes from the idea of being in a spotlight, where everyone can see you and you're the center of attention. When someone puts you on the spot, they're making you the focus of attention in a way that might make you feel pressured or uncomfortable. This happened to me at my friend's wedding. I was just enjoying the party when suddenly the bride grabbed the microphone and said, "Let's hear from my best friend." Everyone turned to look at me, and I had to give a speech without any preparation. Later, I told her, "You really put me on the spot with that speech. I wasn't ready to talk in front of everyone." Luckily, everyone was very kind, and the speech went okay. For example, if your boss asks you a difficult question in a meeting, you might say later, "She really put me on the spot with that question about the budget." You might hear something like, "Don't put me on the spot. I need time to think about it." Let's take this one. When they asked me to sing at the party, they totally put me on the spot. Have you ever been put on the spot? It can be a little scary, but sometimes it helps us do things we didn't think we could do. How do you handle situations like this? Number 6. Don't give me excuses. This sentence means don't try to explain why you couldn't do something, or I don't want to hear your reasons for not doing what you were supposed to do. When someone says this, they're usually frustrated because they think the other person is making up reasons instead of taking responsibility. People use this expression when they're upset about something that wasn't done, or when they think someone is trying to avoid responsibility by making excuses. It's a direct way to tell someone that you want action, not explanations. I remember when I was a teenager, I had a job at a small restaurant. One day, I was running late because I couldn't find my keys. When I finally got to work, my boss was waiting for me. I started to explain about the keys, but she held up her hand and said, "Don't give me excuses. You should have left earlier. Just make sure it doesn't happen again." She wasn't mean about it, but she was clear that she wanted me to be responsible, not make excuses. For example, if your friend was supposed to call you but forgot, you might say, "Don't give me excuses, just remember next time." People often say, "I don't want to hear it. Don't give me excuses for being late again." Here's another one. When I asked my teenager why his room wasn't clean, he started making excuses, so I said, "Don't give me excuses, just clean it." This expression is pretty direct, so you want to be careful about when you use it. It's usually for situations where you're frustrated or when someone needs to take responsibility. Have you ever had someone give you too many excuses? Number 7. How do you handle it? This phrase means, how do you deal with something difficult? Or, what do you do when you face this problem? People ask this question when they want to know someone's method or strategy for managing a challenging situation. It's asking for advice or just curious about how someone copes. You'll hear this expression a lot when people are talking about stress, difficult people, work problems, or any challenging situation in life. It's a way to learn from others and maybe get some good advice for your own problems. My neighbor has 4 young children, and they're always running around, making noise, and keeping everyone busy. One day, I was feeling overwhelmed just babysitting my friend's one child for a few hours. When I saw my neighbor, I asked her, "I don't know how you do it every day. How do you handle it with 4 kids?" She laughed and said, "You just take it one day at a time, stay organized, and remember that they won't be little forever." Her advice really helped me. For example, if your friend has a stressful job, you might ask, "Your boss sounds really difficult. How do you handle it?" You might hear something like, "Living in a big city can be overwhelming. How do you handle all the noise and crowds?" Imagine this. My coworker deals with angry customers all day, so I asked her, "How do you handle it without getting upset yourself?" This question shows that you care about someone and respect how they manage difficult things. What's a challenging situation in your life, and how do you handle it? I'd love to hear your strategies in the comments. Number 8. Could you do me a favor? This sentence is a polite way to ask someone to help you with something. It's one of the most common ways to request help in English. When you say this, you're asking someone to do something nice for you, and you're being polite about it. This phrase is used all the time in daily life. You might ask family members, friends, coworkers, or even strangers for favors. It's considered very polite because you're not demanding help, you're asking nicely. The word could makes it sound more gentle than "can you do me a favor?" Yesterday, I was carrying too many grocery bags from my car to my house, and my hands were full. My neighbor was outside watering his plants, so I called over to him. Hi, John, could you do me a favor? Could you grab that bag from my car? My hands are totally full. He was happy to help, and it made carrying everything so much easier. People usually like helping when you ask nicely. For example, you might say to your roommate, "Could you do me a favor and pick up some milk on your way home?" People often say, "Could you do me a favor? Can you watch my dog while I'm on vacation?" Let's take this one. I called my sister and said, "Could you do me a favor and give me Mom's phone number? I can't find it anywhere." This expression is so useful because everyone needs help sometimes. When someone asks you this question, they're usually about to ask for something reasonable. Do you feel comfortable asking for favors? Sometimes it's hard, but most people are happy to help. Number 9, it's not for sale. This sentence means that something cannot be bought, no matter how much money someone offers. The person who owns it doesn't want to sell it, usually because it's very special, valuable, or meaningful to them personally. People say this about things that have sentimental value, like family heirlooms, special cars, artwork, or anything that money can't replace. Sometimes people also say it about things that are just too important to them to sell, even if they could make money from it. My grandfather had this beautiful old motorcycle that he restored himself. It was bright red and shiny, and people would always stop to look at it. All the time, people would come up to him and ask how much he wanted for it. But my grandfather would smile and say, "Sorry, it's not for sale." That motorcycle represented years of work and so many memories for him. He would never sell it because it meant too much to him. When he passed away, he left it to my uncle, who also says, "It's not for sale when people ask about it." For example, if someone admires your grandmother's ring and asks to buy it, you might say, "Thank you, but it's not for sale. It was my grandmother's." You might hear something like, "That painting is gorgeous. How much do you want for it?" "Sorry, it's not for sale." Here's another one. "People keep asking me to sell my vintage guitar, but I always tell them it's not for sale." This phrase is a polite but firm way to tell someone that something is too important to you to sell. Is there something you own that you would never sell? What makes it so special to you? Number 10. How long have you been here? This question asks about the amount of time someone has been in a place. It could be asking about how long they've lived in a city, worked at a job, been at a party, or been anywhere. It's a common question when you want to know about someone's experience in a place. People ask this question for many reasons. Maybe they want to know if someone is new or experienced. Maybe they're just making conversation. It's a good question for getting to know someone better, especially when you meet them for the first time. When I started my new job last year, I was nervous and didn't know anyone. During my first lunch break, I sat next to a friendly woman in the cafeteria. We started talking, and I asked her, "How long have you been here?" She said, "About 5 years now. I love working here, and I think you will too." That simple question led to a great conversation, and she became one of my best friends at work. She gave me lots of helpful advice about the company and introduced me to other people. For example, when you meet someone new at a party, you might ask, "How long have you been here? Did I miss anything fun?" People often say, "I just moved to this neighborhood. How long have you been here?" Imagine this. When I met my new neighbor, I asked, "How long have you been here?" and found out she had lived there for 20 years. This question is great for starting conversations and learning about people's experiences. It works in so many different situations. When someone asks you this question, what do you like to tell them about your experience in that place? Let's recap what we learned today. We covered a lot of useful expressions today. Let me quickly go through all 10 again so you can remember them better. We learned I'm tipsy, which means you've had a little alcohol and you're feeling it. What's your poison? Is a fun way to ask what someone wants to drink. How was your day? Is probably the most common question you'll hear every single day. You can never have enough expresses that something is so good, you always want more of it. You put me on the spot means someone made you answer or do something when you weren't prepared. Don't give me excuses is what you say when you want action, not explanations. How do you handle it? Asks about someone's way of dealing with difficult situations. Could you do me a favor? Is the polite way to ask for help. It's not for sale means something is too special or important to sell. And finally, how long have you been here? Asks about the time someone has spent in a place. All of these expressions are things you'll hear native speakers use constantly in real conversations. The more you practice them, the more natural your English will sound. Try using one or two of them this week and see how it feels. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? Which one do you think you'll use most often? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing about which expressions help you the most in your English learning journey. If this video helped you learn something new, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Tomorrow, I'll be back with 10 more common idioms, phrases, and sentences that will make your English sound even more natural and confident. Keep practicing, keep learning, and remember that every new expression you learn brings you one step closer to speaking English like a native speaker. Take care and keep practicing your English.